Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific Northwest, from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
Sweet, sweet Mariners, baby.
The Seahawks are keeping it nice and sweet as well, winning once again to take their record to a spicy 10-3
Three. Who would have thought? Right?
after after they go in to Atlanta and emerge victorious. But before we talk about that, why don't I tell you a little bit about us? If you're looking for a guy that will give you a little Jermaine Dupri quote about what the Seahawks, probably heard as soon as they got off the plane and just lived up to all expectation, which was welcome to Atlanta where the players play and we ride on them things like every day. Big beats hit streets, see gangsters roaming, and the Seahawks don't stop until 3 in the morning. And if you're looking for more things like that, you'd be looking for a guy like me, your boy, Coach Red. You can find me on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for a guy that probably would go with something uh a lot easier, a lot less long, but also something that I think might come out of his mouth by Bankroll Fresh. Walk in your trap and take your trap. It's Kane.
Sure. Okay. You can find me over on Twitter, K2406. TikTok, Canes0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Pause. Do it, freaking do it.
Just a little bankroll Kane
Yeah.
there.
This
Seahawks
this
come out on top
this
37
game was fun.
37-9. Uh, Seahawks offense did not really get humming until the third quarter, and they started the third quarter off with a bang. While we break it down, first quarter Seahawks 3, Atlanta 3. Second quarter Seahawks 3, Atlanta 3. Third quarter Seahawks 17, Atlanta 0. Fourth quarter Seahawks 14, Atlanta 3 for your grand total of 37-9. Let's go quarter by quarter. Zane Gonzalez leads off the scoring with a 35-yard field goal for Atlanta. Jason Myers ties it up on a 22-yard field goal. Zane Gonzalez 43-yard field goal in the second quarter. Follow that up with the Jason Myers 48-yard field goal. Going to the start of the third quarter, Rashid Shaheed 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Follow that up with the 28-yard touchdown catch for JSN thrown by Sammy D. Myers tacks on a 37-yard field goal in the third as well. Get over to the fourth. The Falcons tack on a 27-yard field goal, followed by a Cooper Kupp 11-yard touchdown catch from Sam Darnold. And to finish off the scoring, a 4-yard touchdown catch by JSN, thrown by Sammy D.
This game was first half was utterly frustrating, right? It seemed like they couldn't get anything going. But Shaheed coming out the rip as soon as he saw the hole, dude, burst through and kind of with a spark, right? And
Well, and I guess Mike McDonald at halftime said we're going to start out strong, and Sheed's going to take this one to the house to start off the second half.
just straight to the crib. Also, shout out to all the immaculate dances by our team on every turnover, hitting Atlanta hip hop artist dance.
Yeah, Seahawks created 3 turnovers on the day, only committed one themselves. And although the first half was frustrating, Atlanta was definitely out gaining the
Yeah.
Seahawks. Turned around really quick once the Seahawks got into that third quarter. And there's a stat that popped up on the screen, and the Seahawks have scored 30 or more points and a half 4 times this year. The rest of the NFL has done it a combined 6 times. So actually, I had someone pop into the office today and was saying, like, what is going on? Like, why can't the Seahawks score the first half? I'm like, you missed the Cardinals game, you miss Saints game. Like, they've
Commanders.
had a handful of games with the Commanders game where they started off hot and just kept going. And I'm not as concerned, especially when the defense is playing so dominant and how hot the
No.
offense can get at the snap of a
Yeah.
finger, right?
And I think an impressive stat on the weekend is, you're throwing out a little thing here. Sam Darnold's 8 for 11 on blitzes and for 75 yards and 3 tutties. Like,
Yeah, Sam Darnold interception, arm was hit, I believe, when he was
arm was
throwing.
hit. He's also feet weren't set. Just a scramble play. It happens. Whatever. They instantly stop them right
Yeah,
after that. So I'm not worried about it, right? Like it's more infuriating when they get points off of a turnover. But again, the Seahawks also have not allowed a touchdown in 2 weeks.
yeah, and they also had a block field goal thrown in there too. So speaking
Uh,
of Sam Darnold, let's talk about his day. It's 20 for 30, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he absorbed 2 sacks in the game.
it was a great game by Sam. It needed to be a great game by Sam, to be honest. He maneuvered the pocket pretty well. Yeah, the 2 sacks. I'm rather taking a sack than the Rams game, right, where he threw 4 picks. So also it deflected when he's got a lot of those deflected interceptions this
Yeah, like
year.
like we said, the one thing that I will say that was nice is something that was pretty frustrating in the Vikings game was the balls that were batted down at the line of scrimmage, and there were
Yeah.
none in this game.
No, he really it seemed like he turned a corner and just calmed himself, right? You're on the road, used to 10 a.m., it's 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. And it, Atlanta's a place like where they roll deep. Stadium wasn't that deep, apparently. There wasn't a lot
No,
of people there.
there's a lot of Hawks chanting going on there. And
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, did what it took, especially in the second half, to put his team in a position to ultimately win the game.
Yeah. And there are a whole lot of other reasons because we'll get there when we talk other side of the ball. But they were put in great positions all game to score in this, or at least in the second half. They were in great positions every time to score.
Yeah, let's hop over to the rushing attack. There were a handful of guys that eclipsed the double digit yardage mark for this week, which was good to see. Uh, Unfortunately, there wasn't a ton of productive carrying by your two stalwarts. I think your better option there was Zach Charbonnet, who paced the team with 7 carries for 46 yards. Second place, you had Bayless Jones, 4 carries for 32 yards. Kenneth Walker, 10 carries, 29 yards. And Sam Darnold, 3 carries for 23 yards.
Watching Sam finally rip some was nice to see in some situations. It was very situational, which it
Yes.
needs to be, right?
I thought that helped open the
It did.
game up for
I
the
agree.
Seahawks. And
Because there have been many times where he's come up to the line of scrimmage and decided last second to throw instead of to
usually it
just
turns out pretty well for him, but
sure.
bringing that to the game with the athleticism that he does hold, it's not something that he's asked to do and not something he looks to do very often. But I
Mhm.
do think that as you get down the stretch against some of these teams that you're jockeying with for playoff position. And I think
Agreed.
that that's going to be something that we see a little bit more of. And he got down very well. I mean, there was the one where he split the two defenders, but they both like didn't do anything to him. That was
Yeah,
his long run, but it augments how the defense is playing against you. Because, like we
exactly.
said going in, the Falcons are a tough squad, and their secondary is kind of their big area.
I feel
And
like,
the Seahawks came out and threw the ball more than they ran it.
yeah, and the unfortunate thing with the run game, and I kind of made this thing at work today. I'll get to that in a second, but they were a lot of shoelace tackles in this game when somebody could have ripped one. Like Canine had a couple where it seemed like it was going to go big, but somebody got in and just tapped his.
He's had back to back weeks where he's almost had a home run and just gets stumbled up.
Yeah, and same thing with Sharp. He had a couple where he got caught too.
Sharp did have the
Jones,
longest run of the day outside of Valus Jones. Valus Jones did rip off a
dude,
nice
he
one.
looked pretty powerful coming out of that, but also it's garbage time.
First,
So,
both guys were
but
had backups in the game at that point.
what your credit to they passed more than they ran. They stopped running Jesse Bates over the top of Shadow and JSN. That's what truly they stopped doing in the quarter in the second half. They stopped running the too high safety and started to press more. And that was kind of their downfall because we have a lot of route runners.
Well, speaking of the route runners, let's talk about this complement of wide receivers. We've got five guys over double digits in
It
this
was
game.
it was it was a great day to see some people get fed.
Yeah. JSN paces the team 7 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. You had Rashid Shaheed, 4 catches for 67 yards. Cooper Kupp, 2 catches, 35 yards and a touch. AJ Barner, 3 catches for 27 yards. And Zach Charbonnet, 2 catches for 20 yards.
JSN dazzles once again, and my
He caught the
goodness,
first touchdown given up by AJ Terrell so far this season.
yeah,
So that's good to see. And this is the first game that we really saw Rashid Shaheed get
step
into
into it, yeah.
the wide receiving game. Cooper Kupp, impactful in many ways. On his touchdown catch, JSN with a great rub route that puts Cooper wide open. AJ Barner looked athletic with the ball in his hand. Charbonnet was able to bounce and get around. And it's one of those things that we've talked about is as good as the season has been for JSN, and they were able to survive last week with, a pretty lackluster performance at the quarterback position in the passing game, but being able to distribute the ball a little bit more and seeing Rashid Shaheed get a crosser where the trailing defender runs right by him and he turns that into another 8 yards. It's fun to see Rashid have the ball in his hands in open space. And I think that
Yes.
the more you see that, the more that's going to open up the big playability that we've seen from JSN, right?
Yeah, his little 15-yard little out route that he ran and then juked back inside on that defender. He had him crossed.
Though
Like,
that was a crossing route.
was it? I thought he was like went in and then cut
Double
out.
crossers, they were both going out to the far sideline.
Mm.
Guys trailing him, runs right by him,
Dude,
cuts it back in.
when he cut it back in and absolutely snatched his soul, that this is the Rashid Shaheed we want, and let's see him rip one downfield next game.
Yeah, but like we set up the jump, you got a Seahawks team that hasn't allowed a touchdown in 2 games, and that's heavily influenced by the defense. And let's
Oh
start off.
boy.
Uh, Ernest Jones leads this team in tackles with 11 on the day. You've got Devin Witherspoon, who 7 tackles, 1 pick, 2 passes defended. Nicky Manwari, 6 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, a pick, 2 passes defended, and a blocked field goal. Reek makes his way on here with 5 tackles and two
Love
passes
that.
defended. I believe the Seahawks, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 total passes defended on the day. You've got 1 pass defended each for Ty Okada, Josh Jobe, Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, and Julian Love making his way back onto the field.
Dude, let's talk about J Love and Jay Reed and the impact they brought back to this game for just a second because they weren't splashy, but they were noticed in the game. Uh, J Love, man,
On the first drive, gets his pass break up.
yeah, and I saw him lay some hat as best as he could.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome to see, and then good old Jaron Reed with the club, dude, just great to see him back in the middle and
I think
causing a
they originally gave
disruption.
him the forced fumble, but I
They
think that it
did.
got reverted today to
Marcus
Marcus Lawrence. Sorry, dude.
did. Just call him
But
Tank. Just call him Tank.
okay, Lawrence
There you go.
Fishburne.
He's been very fun. He was fun in this game too. It seemed like he was getting a lot of pressure. It just never hit home this week.
Yeah, I mean there was only 1 sack on the day, and that came from I believe it was in third or fourth quarter by Nicky
It's the
Memori
Nick Eden
coming home
Memorial
on a blitz. But
Bananas Day.
1 forced fumble, you create 2 interceptions, you also get the kick return. Also, Jason Myers perfect on the day. At the end of the game, you have Michael Dixon put a ball in the 5 on a punt.
Yeah, that was. And dude, he's
Special
been
teams,
unreal.
the special teams has been the best special teams unit in the NFL. The Seahawks have the best by far. They're the one of the I think they're the only one that have a plus point
Mhm.
metric for them.
The whole team just clicked this week, and it was great to see. Uh, I mean, just let's. We've had this debate a little bit, or it kind of a little back and forth. I thought Spoon
We
was
aren't at
just.
player of the week yet.
We're talking about the two best of the week because it,
Okay,
it
well
was it
let's
was
start. We
Nick.
start on offense every week. It's
Take
the
the fun
same
out of it.
structure.
Just take the fun out of it.
All right, Kane, who's your offensive player of the week?
It was Sam Darnold, and it had to be Sam Darnold.
I think
Sam,
his ability to extend plays, and I
yeah,
believe that if not all 3 of his runs, 2 of them were for first downs.
they were, and it the watching him maneuver blitzes as he did and have the plus yardage and everything. That was also good to see with the doubts of we got blitzed pretty heavy last a couple of weeks. Sam has not fared well, but he did a very good job this week. And as we said, he distributed to 5 different guys for meaningful yards. And I think that Sam was the ultimate game manager this week. It's what you needed out of him. So, Coach Red, who's your offensive player?
I'm going to give an honorable mention to Rashid Shaheed because we don't have a special teams player of the week. If we did, it would be him, even though all special teams just played out of their minds. But it's a guy that I said uh, going in, JSN, you
Yep.
know, looked for a bounce back game. 9 catches, or sorry, 7 catches for 92 yards.
Two
That's a
tutties.
great day, and his ability to get open and flash late on a little scramble play towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
That's not an easy play to make.
Yeah.
Darnold fired that thing in from about 5 yards out.
Exactly. And another thing that I kind of want to touch on with JSN is, man, his leadership this year has grown exponentially,
Well,
right?
I
Like,
I know that you had Tyler Lockett on this team who was kind of
sure.
more the quiet leader, but also physically on the field was more about preservation. I
Mhm.
think that getting that voice in Cooper Cup, who is a tough nosed blocker, who coming from a smaller school, coming from an area that's not known for much football acumen and putting guys in the league, coming back home, his leadership has helped JSN
Yeah,
flourish into the wide receiver that he is today.
I agree. And just like you hear it in his pressers and everything, it's no me, it's we. The you know, I there was the diva comment that he was like, nah, like, I see where winning takes you. And it was the perfect answer, and just like the maturity in year three is just kind of unreal, and it's something that like I don't think we've really seen out of players on this team. Like the maturity of the like all these dudes now, it's just crazy.
I, I agree with that. I also do think that year two of Mike McDonald, more of his guys in the building, and more of a structured team first type mentality where Pete
Mhm.
would let his players be themselves. And I
Sure.
think that Jesus, McDonald sits sits there and has more structure. And I think they even talked about it in the buildup. Clint Kubiak was saying, every day we work red zone offense and defense. No other coach in the NFL or anywhere I've ever been runs practice the way that Mike McDonald does. And I believe that for him being so young and the amount of respect he has garnered, especially with this defense, and I think has overflown over to the offense and the mentality of being a tough as nails team has really shown up, and you can hear it in all of your star players. You had Ernest Jones stepping up for Sam Darnold a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Like this team is bought in on this team.
Yeah.
The individual
Exactly.
the individual successes do not outweigh that of the team, and that's something that they really look at. And it's not the offense versus the defense. They're both playing at a very high level this year.
Mhm.
It's team first, team first, team first.
I love it, dude. Love it.
All right, now we can go over to the defense. Who is
Yeah.
your defensive player of the week?
I got Devin Witherspoon. Oh man, it's just I know Nicky Minwari had the stats and stuff, but the disruption that Spoon caused this week, it led to, him all over Kyle Pitts and that ball launching to Nick and him catching it, and that's the pick, right? Like his pick where he's getting bodied by the slot guy and pushes him into the guy receiving the ball, pops up, Derek Hall bats it into his chest, and he comes away with the pick. Like Devin Witherspoon played his heart out this week. It's honestly one of the best games I've seen from Spoon in the 3 years we've had him. Had to go with my boy this week. Devin Witherspoon was the defensive player for me. Coach Red, who do you have?
It's Nick Emanwari. Like
Yeah.
he
Oh,
sat there and really just took
turned
over
it
the
to another
game.
level.
Like there was one phenomenal catch, athlete on athlete with Pitts, full extension, right?
Mhm.
Where Witherspoon's in a good spot. The ball was just put at the place that only Kyle Pitts could catch it, and he made a phenomenal catch. Outside of that, you're sitting there where he had two passes defended as well.
Mhm.
Like he had the only sack on the day. He recorded his first interception. He was third on the team in tackles. And he just so happened to come off the edge ever so smoothly to block that kick. And I was trying to find
And he
a
almost
nice,
got the one before it,
well, yeah,
too.
he was all over that. But I do believe that I'm not sure if it's modern era or what, but he is the second player to have an interception, a sack, and a blocked field goal all in the same game.
And the last person to do it
Was Leonard Williams.
a year ago.
Yes. Leonard Williams was also a pick six.
Yeah. No, I just think overall Spoon and Imanwari were absolutely lights out this week. They complemented each other so well.
Well, and it
And
was tough because you had I want to give an honorable mention here to Ernest Jones. I believe
oh,
that there
yeah.
was a string of three plays where he was in on the tackle. The first one was a run up the middle, another one where Bijan bumps it to the outside on a ridiculous cut, and Ernest Jones stops him for 2 or 3 yards on the
Mhm.
sideline. And then I think he broke up the pass. The next one, sorry, he didn't get three in a row, but like he was instrumental in three
Mhm.
consecutive plays to turn it into a punt. Like
Right.
what he's doing out there and knowing that he's closer to 100%, but still is not 100% right now.
It's weird us breaking this down and not mentioning Drake Thomas.
He wasn't the biggest. It was
I
tough because they were either running the ball with Bijan and they were not letting on the team that has the most pressures and
Mhm.
top five in the league in sacks. We're not going to let Kirk Cousins sit back there and take excessive hits. And Kirk Cousins got the ball out quick.
He did.
And
He
it was
did.
by design. And what that led to was two interceptions. And what that also led to was him being inaccurate more often than not.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about the upcoming game here before we talk about who we think will be the players of that game. You've got the Colts coming to town. They're sitting at 8-5. They are losers of their last three games, and then the game before that, they uh, in Berlin, I think it was, had to go to overtime to defeat the Falcons, who just played. Daniel Jones out for the season. His backup, Riley Leonard, is dealing with knee injury. So it's looking like it's going to be either Brett Rippon or potentially Philip Rivers coming in for a workout. And either way, it should put the Seahawks in a good spot, especially what you saw them do against Max Brosmer. Rippon has had a little bit of starting time in the NFL, but really has been for most of his career a third string type guy. Philip Rivers, if somehow convinces them that he's ready to go,
It's
it's going to
crazy.
like you do not bring Philip Rivers off the street, not playing for a handful of years, to go up against this defense. That is quarterback malpractice, right?
Yeah. No
What the
kidding.
Seahawks do need to do, though, you got top rusher in the league in Jonathan Taylor. Uh, got back in the end zone last week, didn't the 2 weeks prior. He's a guy that you got to stop. Pittman is solid on the outside, and then you got Alec Pierce, who is a big play machine. His catch average is 20 yards on the year. He's leading their team in wide receiving. He is very good at deep contested balls. I do think that the likes of Reek on the outside and Spoon, if he's matching up on the outside, make it pretty difficult
Yep.
for that deep ball. And what I said offensively, score 21 points and you should be good.
Well, also, you
This,
don't know who their quarterback is going to be this weekend, so it it's not going to be pretty
yeah.
for their offense.
And it's not like their defense is lights out. Their defense is solid.
Solid. I mean, they've got good players.
They do. I think that you're going to be able to expose their cornerback position. They make the trade for Sauce Gardner. He's out for the year. Their second corners in concussion protocol right now. It's probably going to miss the game.
Is that Kenny
They're a
Moore?
t- they're a team that has good players along the
Mhm.
defensive line. And when you really look at they just lost a game, giving up 39 points to the Jaguars yesterday, right? When you look at how that broke down, the Seahawks had more rushing yards than the Jaguars had against the Falcons, and Sam Darnold had a better day at quarterback than Trevor Lawrence did.
Yeah,
It wasn't like this to go score that 39 points, just like this game. Granted, you throw in a return there that kind of skews that for the plus positive for the Hawks, but they just need to go out there and be balanced on offense. I think,
I agree.
ride the
And
hot
they
hand. If you've got the rushing game going, ride it a little bit longer. If you're starting to pick apart gaps, go ahead and do that as well.
right, like make their quarterback beat you. And I think that's the mentality that they've been going into every week is make the quarterback win.
Especially going into this week. All
Yeah.
right, let's go over to who you think is going to be your player of the week. Who do you got for your offensive player of the week?
I think it's gotta be Sam again. I think they're coming home and kind of make a statement, right? You have them while the Rams have Detroit. Make a statement. Try to come out on top of this little division rivalry we've got going, and hopefully we come out as the number one team afterward. I just think Sam needs to play an exceptional game, especially with the playmakers they do have. I mean, Cam Bynum is a ball hawk, and that's the one guy you kind of gotta miss out there. So give me Sam this week, Coach Red. Who do you think the offensive player is going to be?
I'm going to go with Rashid Shaheed, and I think there's going to be a lot of focus on JSN, and you're going to see probably
Mhm.
some safety help coming his way, and especially with where they're sitting at cornerback depth right now, I
Yeah,
do think that it should lend itself for Shaheed to maybe get a long pass and or touchdown to really help the cause in this one. And I really do think that my second place guy, because I wasn't sure which way you were going to go, is I kind of thought that it could be Zach Charbonnet getting involved and having those tough runs in this game that he kind of grind it out and then he pops a couple of 15 to 20-yard runs and really sits you close to about 100 yards of rushing for Charbonnet. I think this is a good matchup for him in that regard. Um, so I wanted to give some shine there as well. All right, who do you got for your defensive player of the game?
give me Ernest Jones this week. I He's been playing at such an unreal level, and they kind of got overshadowed this week by Spoon and Imori. But give me the captain, right? Give me the middle of the field guy. I think that Ernest Jones either has a pick coming again or causing a fumble. So, who do you got this week?
I got Drake Thomas as my defensive
Yeah.
player of the week. And although they do have big time playmakers on the outside, when you look at Brett Rippon or Philip Rivers, they're going to be pretty pocket bound, right? Probably going to have another emphasis on getting the ball out quickly, but they do have Tyler Warren, who's been a very good rookie tight end. I think that you're going to see them trying to work the middle a little bit more. And I do think that you have more sack upside with Drake Thomas, which is why him shooting a hole and getting up there against a guy who is not necessarily as fleet of foot, I think could bode very well for him in that regard.
Totally.
And then, yeah, like we said, this was a game that was frustrating the first half, and then the Seahawks said, "What are we doing?
Right.
Let's go take care of business." And they've done it in multiple ways this year, right? We've seen it where the offense is absolutely humming. We've seen it where the defense can lock it down. We've seen the special teams take over in some of these games, and the old momentum, Uncle Mo, when Uncle Mo's come into this team and they get that turnover, they make the big play. They get that big special teams play. They just keep rolling and keep churning, right? And I do think that this isn't you're playing at home. The Seahawks had their struggles last year at home. That seems to be slightly alleviated now this year, right? I've had two losses at home, right?
Anomaly games, though. Anomaly.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you got week one, Shanahan. They come in, take
I
care of
mean,
business.
Nick
It was
Bosa
a game that
makes.
was your first game with Clint Kubiak.
Yep.
Offense did not look like it was really clicking. And then you had a game where Baker Mayfield uh, extended the play better than I think he has all year, right?
Yes.
So when you look at all those things, those are two solid games against playoff teams, right?
Right.
So go ahead and take this game at home against a team that is in playoff position as we sit here today
Just
and really put your foot down and make a statement.
yeah, and it's just a team that got bit with the injury bug at the wrong time. Capitalize on it, right? I mean, it's what you have to do in the NFL. It's a business, and let's get a dub.
Yeah, we could get that dub as well by getting a little bit of extra bump in the social media side of things. And you can do that by following me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
Find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Pause. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.